Many ask, what should I expect when I call the Dekker team?
Moving forward with the Dekker team. Moving forward together with the Dekker team.
And we at the Dekker team have enjoyed over 30 years of helping people, not only selling and buying real estate, but helping them flourish in their relationships, helping them build wealth, helping them physically, in their relationships, in their marriages, helping people build their faith, helping people to heal, and really just 30 years of helping people build their home. So we've been talking about specialists and a team effect. And when you call the Dekker team, there's someone that's going to answer the phone, and she's part of the team. She's a specialist, actually, because believe it or not, details drive me crazy.
Me too.
I mean, not when I'm writing an offer. Those details are, but remembering things, remembering deadlines, remembering to put something or send something out for somebody that
or
I
fulfill
promised.
all the promises. I was just going to say, the promises. We need a promise keeper.
Yeah, so Janice is really our promise keeper, and she's one of the people you get to interact with when you call the Dekker team. Mm-hmm. So when you call her number, generally it's going to be Janice answering the phone because we're out on the road serving clients, helping people in all those ways I mentioned in the opening, right?
Yeah.
And so her expertise is listening to you and figuring out which one. It's kind of like triage when you go into the hospital and you go, oh, I got a pain here or my, whatever. Or, sometimes triage is obvious. You got a broken arm or you're bleeding from somewhere profusely. They know what you need right away. Other times it's not so obvious. It's like, I got a pain here. Triage is going to do like your blood pressure, your temperature, figure out your urgency of your need.
And the big thing with triage is that they're sitting there waiting for you to come in. You don't see the doctors or the surgeons around.
No.
They're doing their business, and the triage person, like Janice of the Dekker team, is sitting there waiting for your call and excited to help the person that's on the other line or on the other side of the computer emailing in.
Yeah. And so that means people get served faster.
Yes.
Because she's there to do that. Secondly, they get served better because she figures out very quickly, she asks a few questions, figures out which of our realtor partners on the team is the best suited for that person and their needs. So it really helps you get quickly to the right person. Because there's no point in them sending them to me, for instance, and they're an out-of-town buyer and they should be talking to you. Or they're, buying a home and they should be talking with Leah.
Yeah.
Because some of our other team is too busy to take on a new client at the moment. So there's a beauty with teams that there's that flexibility, that fluid and flexible, I like to call it. Yeah. So the other thing she's going to do when we talk about Janice is she's going to do some follow-up, some of the details. She'll organize, like if you're going to sell your house, for instance, and we go and meet and we decide on a price and a strategy to get it sold, then she's going to organize the photographer and organize the sign installer and the lockbox going on and making sure we've got a key that works and showing instructions and all those details that really, if it was left up to me, my clients wouldn't be as happy.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. So, what else should they expect? There's a little saying we think in the Dekker team is called "What's next." What's that mean for our clients?
That we've already have a plan and a strategy in place, and most often we send them out an email. Okay, you've submitted an offer. This is what's next. Let's set up the building inspection. Who do you choose as your lawyer? Do you want some recommendations? All those sorts of little processes and checklists are already in place, so they don't have to figure it out themselves.
Right. Not only that, what's interesting is when they know that they're going to get what's next, they don't have to be questioning, am I missed something? And we don't give them the whole process up front.
No, it would be way too overwhelming.
Right? Like I don't know. It's a little over 107 items that we take details while selling a property, and for a buyer, it's around 63 different individual steps that happen during the process. And it's kind of like I don't know, like driving a car. You ever driven home and go, "How did I get here?"
Yep. There's times, or I'm on autopilot and I'm like, oh, why did I end up at the office? I was to go somewhere else.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because it becomes second nature, right?
Yes.
You drive home, or when I first moved, several times I went to drive to your house because you now live in the house that we built, and I'm heading the wrong direction. And I go, whoa! So we go on to autopilot, and that's what happens after years and years and years of selling real estate. We think it's not a big deal because we've learned all the steps and processes.
Yeah.
But for our clients who have sold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 houses, and it may be 3-5 years between, they're not.
No, or they're
not
doing
knowing all the steps.
Their first purchase or their first sale. I remember quite a few of my buyers, they first buy, and then a few years later they decide, okay, now it's time to go to our family home, and they turn around to go sell. And what happens is they're like, oh, we thought buying was complicated. Selling and having to figure out when to buy is way more complicated. We're so glad you're here with us. So that can be another one. But I'm thinking, as you're talking, planning a wedding for the first time, which generally you hopefully only plan one wedding, unless you're a wedding planner. But I remember getting those bridal magazines and the checklists of over 100 things and more, of like picking out the groomsmen's wear, those are fun things, but it's all the little things like reserving the caterer. And I do remember my wedding. They asked me as I was setting up the wedding, I don't know if you remember, we were doing the food, and they said, do you want serving of the cake afterwards? And I was like, oh, no, we don't need to do that. And I was trying to save money, but I didn't understand what serving of the cake was. I was thinking, I'm going to cut the cake and then serve it to my guests. Well, serving of the cake actually meant plates and cutlery. And so we got to cutting the cake, and we panicked, and they were already cleaned up, the kitchen crew, and they were like, no, we're not giving you plates and forks. Do you remember this?
No. I don't.
And we ended up getting napkins and serving everybody their cake in a napkin, and they ate it out of the napkin.
Really?
Yeah, like
I remember it was like creamsicle or something.
Yeah, it was flavored creamsicle. Yeah, delicious.
I mean, that I love. I love wedding cake.
But if I had a wedding planner, that step wouldn't have been missed.
You misunderstood that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's really cool. And then also, once you're working with a realtor, some people think on a team you're going to be tossed around from person to person. It's really not like that, unless you're on vacation or unless you have an emergency or you're totally not available, then another team member may step in. The beauty is all of our team members are familiar with all of our clients.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So there's an interesting saying by Henry Ford. And it says, coming together is a beginning, staying together is progress, and working together is success. So I think that's really cool. So we're excited to be your partners in moving forward together, because together we got this.
Moving forward with the Dekker Team. Moving forward together with the Dekker Team.